Assalamu alaikum. It is Tuesday, the 13th of September 2022, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 360. And we're discussing chapter 2, verse 104. And this is the 8th broadcast about this verse of the Holy Quran. These broadcasts are brought to you by LASA, Lahore MDA School of Education in Religion, which is a branch of the MDA Association for Propagation of Islam, which is also known as Lahore MDA Movement. The MDA movement was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, and he taught us that although other people say that after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, at least one more prophet will come, but the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet is Khatamun Nabiyyin. And the Holy Prophet explained its meaning by saying, La Nabi Abadi. There is no prophet after me. So now no prophet will come, not an old one, not a new one, no one. And Hazrat Sahib claimed that there had been, and the companions of the Holy Prophet asked the Holy Prophet, what will happen to Muslims if they go astray, if no prophet is to come? And the Holy Prophet said, God will send reformers, Mujaddideen. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed out that there had been many reformers, Mujaddideen, before him. And he was one such person in that series. But his distinction from other mujaddids was that he said that the ahadith speak of a Messiah and Mahdi to come, but these are not personalities, but these are titles which will be applied to a mujaddid. And he claimed that he was that mujaddid. But he said that it may be, he's written in one place, that 30,000 more messiahs come. And upon this, people started calling him and Ahmadis kafirs and so on. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh taught that the Holy Prophet had said that if one reciter of the kalima calls another reciter of the kalima a kafir or heretic, then it is the person saying these words who's the heretic. So we must not engage in this practice. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that when we speak about sources of Islam, people say hadith comes first. But he said the Holy Quran is the word of God written down as it was being revealed and checked by the Holy Prophet. Ahadith were written many, many years later, the earliest 100 years later, and not in the Holy Prophet's presence. He didn't have a chance to check whether he said these things or not. So Quran comes first. Then comes the Sunnah, the practice of the Holy Prophet seen by thousands of people. And then Hadith, after careful checking, then we can accept a Hadith. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Rahmatullah Alayh also said that People say some prophetic revelation like Surah Walayat and Ayah Rajim have been left out of the Holy Quran. And others say that some verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated. He said this cannot be right because God has said that I'm going to safeguard the Holy Quran. So nothing could have been left out of it. And of course, he said that jihad is a duty of every Muslim, but jihad not as defined by others as take the sword and kill people if they don't agree to embrace Islam, but jihad as defined by the Holy Prophet, which is that returning from fighting, the Holy Prophet said that Muslims were returning from the minor jihad to the major jihad. And the major jihad was, he said, jihad bin nafs. And that is the jihad against your own self. So, with that, let us turn to the Holy Quran and the verse we're going to, or the words that we're going to discuss today. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم. O you who believe, say not Ra'ina and say Unzurna and listen. And for the disbelievers, there is a painful chastisement. So let us see how the second last word of this verse, azabun, generally translated as punishment or chastisement, is used in the Holy Quran. It is a noun and its root is ayin, dhal, ba. And it is used in the Holy Quran 373 times and in 5 forms. Most frequently, it occurs in the Holy Quran 322 times as Awwab and 41 times as Awwaba. And as I said, one form, verb, means to punish, as in as in verse 284, وَيُؤَذَّبُ, he will punish you. Or later on in chapter 3, verse 128, يُؤَذِّبَهُم, punishes them. So it's the meting out of punishment. But punishment itself, which is a noun, which is azab, a punishment, the punishment, torment, azabun azim, as it's called in verse 7 of Al-Baqarah. So, Basically, this has three meanings or significances. Uh, as its basic meaning. Firstly, it means um, sweet, pleasant water which quenches your thirst. As it says, as the Holy Quran says in chapter 25, verse 53, Haza Azbun Furat. The water is sweet and pleasant. So that is one meaning. And another meaning is the sort of pain and difficulty and discomfort that uh, disturbs your life. And the third meaning is, or let me go to a verse of the Holy Quran. For example, in chapter 8, verse 33, it says, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. And God is not such that when you were among them, He would have punished them. And He's also not such that if they repent, then He would still punish them. Or chapter 8, verse 34, وَمَا لَهُمْ أَلَّا يُعَذِّبَهُمُ اللَّهُ. And why should God not punish them? And then, of course, the last meaning, and that is some kind of an impediment to stop someone from doing something, and so on. So, as I said in the Urdu part of the broadcast earlier on, that you have to keep in mind the situation, the circumstances of the use of a language and development of a language. In Arabia, which is a desert, water is found in a few places. You may have to travel for many days without water before you come upon an oasis or something. And many tribes would come to fight each other for ownership of water. And we had this incident in Medina when a Jew owned a well and he was asking Muslims for extortionate amounts of money for access to water. And this is, we are talking about drinking water, the sweet and pleasant water. Obviously, if you drank seawater, that's not going to quench your thirst, it's going to make things worse. And then, so this is what the Holy Quran refers to, that pleasant water, that sweet water, that quenches your thirst and pleases you and takes the pain of thirst away. And then you have asaban, which is the rubbish, maybe twigs, maybe some other rubbish that people have thrown that covers up water. But not only covers it, but it may also pollute it. I mean, if you throw a newspaper or a magazine in a pond or something, what happens? The ink dissolves in water and obviously pollutes it. So the more you drink that kind of water, the more likely you are to ingest that ink, etc. Now, as far as impediment is concerned, the word is used for the person or the animal because who stops, uh, who doesn't eat or drink and spends the whole night without any food or water. So this word is used for hunger, for thirst, for pain, anything that disturbs an easy, a pleasant life. And there is some discussion amongst the scholars about which are the roots and this and that and so on. But what I want to do is I want to look at the word azab itself, which is generally translated as punishment or torment and all this kind of thing. Now there are two aspects. Why would these people be subjected to azab, this punishment? Well, one is, you know, like in this world, you steal something and I don't know, you're sent to prison, or you have to do community service or something, or you don't listen to the teacher. He's trying to teach and you're talking in class, and the teacher gives you detention, so you have to stay after school for half an hour or whatever, as a kind of punishment. You are stopped from going out, leaving the school, which is another meaning of the word. Um, but then let's look at it another way. Yes, it is punishment, but let's look at it another way, and that is you go into hospital, your foot has become infected, and the doctor says, "Well, I'm very sorry, it's gangrene, and it's spread up your leg, and we have to cut your leg off to save your life. If we don't, you'll die." And so the question you have to ask yourself is this: when the surgeon subjects that person to the horrible pain of cutting his leg off, is he punishing him or is he curing him? Even in this life, when people are sent to prison, it is hoped that they will reform, they will get better. When you go to prison, you're given the chance to learn many things. You are given a chance to get certificates, to learn practical skills, even to get a degree. Why? So that when you come out, you have some qualifications. You may have committed that crime, whatever it was, because you had no life skills. You couldn't get a job. But now that you have those life skills, you know, you may not return to the life of crime, but do something useful. So you can see, even in sending a person to prison, there is an element of reform and betterment in it. You can take another example. Uh, Women in the West who become pregnant, they stop smoking and drinking. Why? Because it affects the mental development of the fetus. And to take an extreme example, those women who, for example, become addicted to heroin and they're pregnant or become pregnant, the child is born addicted to heroin. And it's extremely painful for the child to be weaned off because that was how it was in the mother's womb. The food and everything it was getting was infected by this drug. So you can see that the process of curing someone. I mean, there's another example, a simpler one, which is that people who smoke and try and give up smoking, the stress that they go through, you know, uh, patches, nicotine patches are invented so that they can put them on their arms and so on, and all this kind of thing. Why? Because they're feeling the torture, the pain of giving up smoking. But you can see that it's not, in my view, it's not just punishment. Azab is not just punishment; it's treatment. And what God is saying is that just like the fetus in the womb is affected, but by what the mother does and eats and so on. The instructions about don't lift a heavy weight, don't do this, don't do that, and all that kind of thing. In the same way, you have instructions that just like the fetus in the womb, your soul is inside you. Your body is the womb for your soul, and it will be affected by your actions, just like the fetus was impacted by the actions of the mother smoking or drinking or whatever. And then when that soul is born, which we call death, it will have to go through a curative process. So, and this is, I think, one thing that people always forget and don't stress enough, that there is an element of cure, and it's only thought of as a punishment. You did this thing bad, and I'm going to punish you. But you have to remember, what's the point of punishing someone? What's the point? Someone shoplifts and you put him in prison. So what have you done? You put him in the company of all those people who are criminals. And he's going to exchange notes with those other criminals and perhaps come out a better criminal. Oh, yeah, I did that wrong. Next time I won't do it. I won't get caught. But the point is that you're supposed to provide facilities so that these people develop such that they don't have to break the law again. And it's exactly the same in the hereafter, I think. This is my opinion. So that, yes, there is pain, but that is pain of the treatment. And you can say it's punishment, yes, just like the smoker who becomes depressed and angry and irritable and everything else when he tries to give up smoking. It's exactly the same thing. He's feeling that pain. So we've gone over the time a bit. I take my leave of you with a request that I have been making for the last few days. Please pray for Pakistan and people of Pakistan. because of the very difficult times that they're going through. And if you can, help them in whatever way that you can. And I pray that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.